This is White Plains Week, the weekly roundup of White Plains, Westchester, and world news. With John Bailey, editor and publisher of the daily internet newspaper White Plains Citizen Net Reporter, WPCNR.com. Jim Benerofe, editor and publisher of SuburbanStreet.com and WhitePlains.com. White Plains Week, what's happening? Who are the newsmakers? What's in store for the future? The views and opinions expressed on this program are solely those of the participants. White Plains Week is presented on Optimum Cable Channel 76, Verizon Fios Channel 45, and on the internet at whiteplainsweek.com, youtube.com, and wpcommunitymedia.org. Now, White Plains Week.
Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. White Plains, Westchester, and the world. John Bailey, the old Citizen and reporter, with the Dean of Journalism in the city of White Plains, Jim Benerofe. Jim, good evening.
Good evening.
What happened this week?
What didn't happen this week?
Right.
Now, the stories of White Plains Week for October 11th, 2019. White Plains Garden of Remembrance is vandalized. Representative Nita Lowy of the 37th Congressional District announces she will not run for re-election. Plans for demolishing of the old YMCA are showcased at Common Council meeting. Mayor Thomas Roach announces solar initiative for commercial buildings. Westchester housing sales malaise continues. Getney Association calls on council to make zoning of former Ridgeway Country Club permanent. American in Paris opens at Westchester Broadway Theater. AIDA opens at White Plains Performing Arts Center. White Plains prepares for its Battle of White Plains recognition ceremony Saturday at noon to 4 p.m. at Jacob Purdy House.
Thank you, Jim. And, of course, the most shocking story of the week in White Plains happened at the Garden of Remembrance, shown here. And this is outside the McCallion building on Martine Avenue, just a short walk away from where we're making this program for you. And what happened was that we got a statement from George Latimer, and on late Tuesday afternoon, just before the holiday, Yom Kippur, the High Holy Day, and it said that anti-Semitic paraphernalia had desecrated the Garden of Remembrance, and the county executive was just, the statement was blunt. This is just a terrible thing to have done. And then a little later in the week, the Committee on the Holocaust Memorial itself issued this statement, and it speaks for itself. And what was your reaction to that, James?
Well, I was surprised. I haven't seen anything like that. I didn't actually see what they did. They didn't actually mark on the monument itself.
I do not know.
No. You know, it's been a long time, I think, since there have been any incidents of anti-Semitism within White Plains. Of course,
I can't ever remember it ever happening to the Garden of Remembrance. So
no, as far as I know, nothing
ever. And it's just what that ceremony, and I've attended it a number of times. It is not only remembering the victims of the Holocaust, but it's very ecumenical in nature.
Yeah.
And it speaks to suffering and those who would cause suffering around the world.
Yeah.
and to desecrate it it's an unspeakable thing to do.
Yeah.
And how does this hate fester? What is the hate in this country
Don't know.
today?
I still, I'm of the opinion that our current president has created a divisiveness beyond anything I've ever seen in the country, and just encourages this kind of behavior.
Well, it has certainly increased during his presidency exponentially.
Yeah.
And it is just not, we, in our actions, have to accept people whenever we meet them and respect them and respect their views, and they will respect yours. You and I have been all over the world, and you have found that true, is it not?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we've been all over the world. I've been in some parts of the world.
We've covered a lot of it.
Yeah.
And generally, if you are traveling and you're interacting with people in the streets, it's like, it's a very good experience,
Yeah.
despite you may be dressed in funny American clothes, you know. And I've always been really appreciative of the way I've been received in cities around the world that I've been in and participated in. And that's the way people usually are. Hate is not a natural thing, and it's hard to really hate. So that the fact that some people seem to do it so easily, this is a symptom that we cannot ignore any longer. We have to say, hi, how are you? How are you doing more often, and mean it. But anyway, then this was followed up yesterday by this twit. And this twit came from Nita Lowy, our representative in District 37. And as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, she announces rather cryptically that she is going to stop serving after this next final year of her term in the U.S. Congress. And this apparently took everybody by surprise. She's been, as she mentions, 31 years in Washington. That is the age of my daughter has been living. So it shows you how congressional seats become a lifelong occupation. But what do you think? This creates a real, the line forms here to grab that seat,
Yeah.
does it not?
Yeah.
Now, who do you think might replace her?
The only name that I that I can remember that I've heard was they were talking about Chelsea Clinton might run for that.
Yes, this the darling of the press, because she would make the best copy.
Yeah.
Yeah. However, there are persons that are going, we're thinking of running a primary against her anyway. David Carlucci, the very visible state senator from up Rockland County Way, who's, I couldn't figure out why he was appearing so much and making so many statements, but now maybe we think he knew something, you know, that she was, you know, and he was maybe thinking, now he's considering possibly talking it over with his family.
Who else are we talking about?
There was a gentleman, a Mr. Jones, who's going to, gearing up to primary, and then I would think if George Latimer wanted it, he could just slide right in and run for Congress. I mean, he's working real hard as county executive. You go to Washington, you don't have to work hard.
What about somebody like Tom Roach?
That's a possibility. I had not even considered the mayor. But, you know, what do congressional representatives get paid? I just don't remember.
I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of $100 and some odd thousand.
Yes, he may have to take a pay cut. But on the other hand, he again has a very good reputation. The mayor could try it, see what he thought about it. But then he would really miss attending all those neighborhood association meetings and basking in the adulation of the multitudes, wouldn't he?
Right.
But the other possibility is Shelley Mayer, who took over George Latimer's state Senate seat and has a big reputation, and she might be a possibility. And at the show over at the WPBT last night, we were discussing, hey, maybe even Mike Spano might give it a shot. But be that as it may, this will be a real bloodbath for that, unless it's already been decreed by Mr. Cuomo. In fact, Mr. Cuomo might want to take a shot if he lives in the district, but I don't think he would. I mean, it's much more fun being governor.
I don't think he'd do that.
No, I don't think so. But that's really a long shot. But it would put him in the forefront in Congress. I mean, we do not have a real name representative, except for Nancy Pelosi. You know, national name recognition. But this is an interesting thing, and Ms. Linda Lowy has been long served the district, and she's 82, and you know, it may just be but she doesn't want to go. We don't know. Okay, this is her personal decision, and but it certainly does make for an interesting facet of this election cycle, which has been one of the most boring ones I've ever encountered in White Plains. Yeah, nobody's is speaking out. We have the debate, not really a debate, but the forum coming up next week, and that is on. I'm blanking. Do you remember when that forum is?
I don't remember the date.
No. Well, it shows how much we're really paying attention to this campaign.
Yeah, right. Well, there's been nothing.
There's nothing to pay attention to. Nobody's hitting hard. Nobody's talking issues. And, I mean, the Republicans could do a three-man walk around through the neighborhoods. Remember when Nick Bielenson was running and he did a run through the town, you know, when he was running for mayor? That was a very effective attention getter, but that was the past. Now, next up, in the Common Council, Jim, there was a presentation about the new apartment building
for the old YMCA property.
Right, and here's a clip explaining.
I'm familiar with this property. The property is located at 250 Mamaroneck Avenue. The proposal is for the redevelopment of that property with an 8-story mixed-use residential and commercial building. It's intended to have 177 units. I can go through the unit mix for you. 16 studios, 97 bedrooms, 97 one-bedroom, 52 two-bedrooms, and 12 three-bedrooms. So just to give you a little bit of background on the property, it is approximately 1.32 acres and is located in the VR2 district. It is currently the site of the YMCA, which, as you know, will be demolished as part of this project.
Well, Jim, you were there for the rest of a very lively hearing. Tell us about how the council responded.
Well, the council wanted to see them try to use solar energy, and even talked about geothermal, and the developer said that they would explore those possibilities. Some of the council members were concerned about more public open space, and they talked about the setback, and apparently the zoning board had approved removing the setback requirement, and it appeared that the council, when they were talking at least, wasn't aware that the zoning board had done that, and although I think it was stated by the developer that the zoning board had done that, but the council sort of was ignoring that and say they didn't do this.
Yeah, I think she said it just after, you know, we cut that clip of her, but I felt nobody was really concerned about setbacks, you know. Who knew, right? Who knew setbacks were so important?
The developer was, I thought, very accommodating, and the developer has been helping the YMCA with their moving and setting up, they're moving to St. John's Church on, I think, on Hamilton Avenue. But I will also mention, I was a member of the Y for more than 40 years. I was also on the board there, and there was some things talked about fundraising, and the Y would need something like $26 million to fix the place up. It just didn't make sense. And there's a lot of competition out there. You've got things like Planet Fitness, you've got Crunch, you've got a number of other things. You've got Lifetime Fitness, where I am a member, and I swim there a lot. And I swam at the Y a lot. And it was economically untenable for the Y, and there was no way. Fundraising is very competitive. There's a lot of organizations out there trying to raise funds, and it's tough, and there was just too much. They needed too much money to fix things up, so they were better off really selling the property.
So you approve of this development, right? I think that's a good use of development.
You know, maybe they can make some accommodations, but the developer has been helping the Y a great deal. And the existing...
And they're from Nashville, this developer.
Yeah. The existing older Y building goes right out to the sidewalk. You walk up the steps right from the sidewalk. There's really no setback.
And the front that they've designed looks much better than the Y ever did.
And they talked about a setback on where the pool is. That's not a setback, it's a parking lot. And it was never public.
It was not public, and it was just not a good, it was not a good design. But now, you also mentioned geothermal, but the mayor has a new program to bring more solar to White Plains, and here's what he talked about during the session.
Had solar panels on the roof, and when I went up to the roof with him and he showed the panels, I said, this is really great. And he said, listen, I like the environment, but I'm not that, you know, that's not why I did it. Financially, it was a no-brainer. So then that begs the question, why don't more commercial properties do that? And in my mind, I thought if we could go to these buildings with a package that tells them what they can generate on their roof and what the incentives are, and gives them a concept that says, look how much money you're going to make, we're more likely to get buy-in. And these are going to be busy people who are worried about other things, so you have to, you know, do the work for them. We've been working for a while. We've enlisted these partners. There's not much to the study because CUNY was working with us as a solar map. We identify the rooftops that can generate 100 kilowatt or more, and we review it also with our electrical inspectors because our inspectors may be more knowledgeable about equipment that's on the roof. And then we're going to target the biggest ones first, and I'm going to go out and we're going to present them with this to try and get that going. And so this is what we are trying to do in White Plains, is to get alternative energy everywhere we can. And so this is in addition to what we're doing with city properties. That was done first. The RFPs came back today. The responses came back today, I believe. 7 or 8 which is very good, and they're being reviewed by our partner, the Power Authority, as we review them as well. So on the city properties, we're going to be looking for solar, but what we want to do is I look at Google Earth and I see all those flat roofs, and I imagine generating a lot of electricity and taking a lot of carbon out of the atmosphere, and that's what this is about. And I'm appreciative of the council's support, and I really look forward to seeing this hit the ground, get going.
Now,
How about that?
Let me comment, because I have solar energy at my house. And the amount of money that I'm saving by not paying Con Ed is phenomenal.
That's good to hear.
I don't think I've had a bill, an electric bill from Con Ed since I put in the solar for more. I think the highest I had was maybe, well, this was their total bill. This included gas. It was $150. And I was paying, before I did the solar, I was paying roughly $1,000 a month.
Well, hey, you can buy lunch today. Okay, very good. Yeah, so that's settled. He takes lunch today. Okay.
But solar energy is terrific,
yes.
and they should push it for private homes.
Yeah, but I
also.
think this is a really unique effort by the mayor. I have to compliment him on that, because not too many other people have thought of that. Actually going to commercial properties and say, hey, can you put solar up here? You know?
It's definitely beneficial.
Definitely, and I salute the mayor for that. And it makes everybody more efficient, and who knows, they might be able to lower rents.
I don't think that will happen.
No. Speaking of other types of housing, housing figures came out from the Hudson Gateway Association of Realtors, and things are okay, but just okay. The price of a single-family home in Westchester County is now leveling the median sales price, which means half the sales are above and half are below. It's $700,000. That's the blue line is Westchester County, and you see how it has vacillated over the years and months, and it is interesting to me that the price is gradually creeping up. Now, in the next slide, you will see the number of sales in the third quarter. Single-family homes only went up about 1%. Condos went up 3.2% in sales, and cooperatives dropped 16.5%. Now, I asked an expert on this, and she told me that the co-op's prices are going up, and this means that people wait until the market goes down a little. They don't want to buy at the high price. But it is not that co-ops are not desired. They are, but look at how the sales have had gone up previously over the last 3 years.
Yeah, well, what's interesting is we are building a huge amount of rental housing. And I don't know what the breaking point is. For instance, one of the things I was happy about the Y project was they're providing some 3-bedroom apartments, which is about time they did some of that. They don't need a lot, but they should be providing that.
Yeah.
And I think, though, the problem that's going to come in there, I think when you start to get above something like $6,000 a month rent, I mean, if you're putting out $72,000 a year for rent,
right, you got to make a huge take-home income, whether the wife and hubby make the combined $300,000 or so, which is typical of a lot of the well-to-do middle-class couples in the 20s and 30s. But On the other hand, with housing,
Well, they're not
yeah.
going to, the 3-bedroom apartments, I don't think are going to go to younger people. I think they're going to go to people like me, empty nesters,
Yes.
want to downsize.
Well, you might want 2 3-bedroom apartments for all your bucks.
That's right.
Now, doldrums. In the what you see there is the mean sale price, $907,900 for single-family homes, and that's the average price. So you've got many homes selling for about $1 million, but not much more than that. You know, that's what raises the median price. And then the realtors complained also about inventory. Next slide. And the inventory is down 3% in single-family homes. The inventory is up to 12% in condominiums, and cooperatives is off 6% because people have been buying them. And 2 to 4 family availability is down 15%. Now, what does that mean if you are the owner of these houses? You either have to decide to hold out, not put yourself on the market, or if you have to really move the house for financial reasons, you have to sell out or lower your price. The owner is squeezed until better attractive homes come on the market at a lower price. And now, wrapping up the show, we want to mention that the White Plains Westchester Broadway Theater premiered at a press night last night on American in Paris. It is a great show. It's Gershwin at their best. It stars Deanna Doyle as the Lise, the ballerina in that, and this is I've Got Rhythm, and it's a colorful show, well costumed. And next slide, a fantastic performer, Lauren Sprague, who plays a femme fatale who befriends Brandon Hagenson, and it's just a lovely romantic show, great dancing, and I heartily recommend it. And don't forget, AIDA starts at the White Plains Performing Arts Center tonight. John Bailey, Jim Benerofe, good night for White Plains Week.
This has been White Plains Week, news and commentary about White Plains, Westchester, and the world. The views and opinions expressed on this program were solely those of the participants. White Plains Week, produced by White Plains Citizen Net Reporter, and presented on Optimum Cable Channel 76 and Verizon Fios Channel 45. You may view White Plains Week anytime on the internet at whiteplainsweek.com, youtube.com, and wpcommunitymedia.org. For White Plains Week, this is Peter Katz speaking.